Concrete, the Impact on Society in History and Today, by Teresa McGilvery. Concrete has changed how billions of people work, live, and move around. Since it came into widespread use around the turn of the 20th century, this man-made stone has changed where and how billions of people live, work, and move around. Important structures such as the Panama Canal, the Hoover Dam, the Roman Pantheon, and the Roman Colosseums have all been constructed from concrete. Without its development over time, we wouldn't have the capability to construct a strong infrastructure for buildings, streets, sidewalks, tunnels, bridges, etc. Over time, mankind has improved the recipe of concrete, and we now use it in almost everything we build in society today. Given the size of the concrete industry and the way concrete has been used to shape the infrastructure of the modern world, it is difficult to overstate the role this material plays today. The word concrete comes from the Latin word concretus, which means compact or condensed. Concrete is a composite material of fine and coarse aggregate bonded together with a fluid cement that hardens over time, most frequently a lime-based cement binder, such as Portland cement, but sometimes with other hydraulic cements such as calcium, aluminate, and cement. When aggregate is mixed together with dry Portland cement and water, the mixture forms a fluid slurry that is easily poured and molded in the shape. The cement reacts chemically with the water and the other ingredients to form a hard matrix that binds the materials together into a durable stone-like material that has many uses. Concrete has a long history that dates back to before 6500 BC. It occurs naturally when burnt limestone reacts with oil shale. Over time, the recipe for concrete has improved upon and can vary depending on its use. Different civilizations from different areas of the world have had their own personal history with concrete. The first evidence of concrete being used in history was the Nabatea, who dwelled in what we now know as Syria. The Nabatea were the first to use a hydraulic cement which hardens when exposed to water and contains lime. The structures they built still exist today because of the concrete's durability against weather and the deterioration. The Assyrians and the Babylonians, these are the Assyrians, these are the Babylonians, used concrete with clay as a bonding component to construct their homes and place of worship. The Roman Empire was the most familiar first concrete structures that we have seen. The Romans found concrete very useful for building their arches and complex architecture. The recipe for concrete changed through the age of the Industrial Revolution. At the end of this period, the recipe for concrete contained pieces of steel and opened a whole new world of concrete-enforced bridges, dams, archways, and even railroad ties. Concrete became the most commonly used human-made building material throughout the world. We consume twice as much concrete every year as we do steel, aluminum, plastic, and wood combined. That's because cities are exploding, especially in the developing worlds, as people leave the countryside for a shot at a better life in the metropolis. The number of urban dwellers is rising by about 65 million people annually. There's no way cities could grow this fast without concrete. It is almost magically cheap, easy way to quickly create roads, bridges, dams, and housing for huge numbers of people. An estimated 70% of the world's population now lives in structures made at least partly of concrete. The manufacturing and use of concrete produce a wide range of environmental and social consequences. Some are harmful, some are welcome, and some are built depending on circumstances. Concrete is used to create hard surfaces that contribute to surface runoff, which can cause heavy soil erosion, water pollution, and flooding. A major component of concrete is cement. The cement industry is one of the 3 primary producers of carbon dioxide. As of 2001, the production of Portland cement contributed to 7% of global anthropogenic carbon dioxide emission due to the sintering of limestone at 1,500 degrees Celsius. Concrete produces carbon dioxide, which is a major greenhouse gas, and affects the most fertile part of the Earth's layers. Concrete also contributes to the urban heat island effect, which is when you're in the city during the summer, and it seems much hotter than it really is because the concrete is holding the heat. Many of the world's concrete structures are slowly disintegrating. The most recent report on the nation's infrastructure by the American Society of Civil Engineers declared that 1/5 of our highways and 1/3 of our urban roads are in poor condition. According to the Federal Highway Administration, nearly 1/4 of all the United States bridges are structurally deficient or functionally obsolete. Our dams are in similar dismal shape. Worldwide, as much as 100 billion tons of poorly manufactured concrete structures, buildings, roads, bridges, dams, everything, may need to be replaced in the coming decades at a collective cost of trillions of dollars. To make matters worse, we're running out of one of concrete's most essential ingredients: sand. All around the world, sand mining is becoming a slaughtering river-dwelling fish and birds, damaging coral reefs, undermining bridges, and causing riverbanks to collapse. There is so much money to be made that in some countries, organized crime gangs have moved into sand business. In India, Kenya, Vietnam, and hundreds of places, people are tortured and murdered in recent years, all over sand. Concrete has environmental benefits as well. Concrete is a commonly used material in newer, eco-friendly, durable construction. Concrete, with its strength, durability, and excellent thermal mass, is a key component to eco-buildings of today and in the future. In May 2008, The Guardian in the United Kingdom featured the first zero-carbon house developed by a volume house builder in which concrete plays a critical role in maintaining internal temperatures. It also prevents the spread of fire because it's not flammable and doesn't melt. Recycling of concrete is happening more and more. When the old concrete structures are knocked down, instead of going to a landfill, they grind down the concrete and use a giant magnet to remove any reinforcing steel or rebar. The concrete can then be used for roads and making new concrete. With government regulation, the negative effects of concrete production can be controlled and minimized. When mixed incorrectly, concrete can be very dangerous. We all remember Boston's Big Dig project that ran from 1991 to 2006. Massive amounts of concrete were used to construct the Zakim Bridge and the tunnels, ramps, and roadways of the Big Dig. Naturally, concrete is the perfect building material for this project when mixed correctly. The aggregate company responsible for mixing and delivering the concrete for this project were fined because they did not follow regulation when mixing the material. The temperature, amount of water used, and reinforcing materials were all not meeting code. As a result, the concrete panels in the tunnels leaked. On July 10th of 2006, a panel collapsed and landed on a vehicle traveling to the airport. The woman in the car died. This tragedy could have been avoided if the aggregate company had not neglected to mix the concrete correctly. Concrete is the basis of a large commercial industry and is worth over $30 billion in the United States alone. It is used in any structure that requires infrastructure. It provides local jobs since it can only be produced when delivered and installed within hours of mixing. Concrete provides an energy-efficient way of preventing air leakage, which is important for residential homes. Concrete is also fire-resistant since it has a lower heat conductivity than steel. It also provides protection from outside sources such as high winds, tornadoes, and hurricanes. With the right reinforcement, it can even withstand earthquakes. Concrete with the right mixture can last up to 16,000 years before deteriorating, which explains why it is most commonly used building material. Concrete has a tremendously positive effect on some countries around the world. Cement is the most important industry in Pakistan in the last 2 decades. The ingredients of concrete, limestone and gypsum, are available in abundance in Pakistan. Pakistan exports cement to local markets such as Russia, Iraq, Sri Lanka, India, Afghanistan, and United Arab Emirates. Pakistan has 20 cement plants and have a production level of approximately 9.5 million tons, and they are still building more plants today. The production of cement in Pakistan and the export to its surrounding areas brought to these countries, cities, and modern construction. 30 years ago, when you visited these countries, they consisted of 1 to 2 level structures that would not last more than half a century with their dry weather, extreme heat, earthquakes, and sandstorms. With the mass production of concrete from Pakistan, these cities now have complex sound structures that are better for withstanding the weather and heat, as well as keeping the inside cool. Concrete is used for homes, government buildings, religious structures, highways, roadways, etc. With access to concrete, Middle Eastern countries now contain the infrastructure of the modern world. Production and export of cement improved Pakistan's economy as well. $30 billion has been added to their national income as a tax collection for the cement industry. In conclusion, concrete has made a positive impact on the world's society throughout history. Without its development over time, we wouldn't have the capability to construct a strong infrastructure for buildings, streets, sidewalks, tunnels, bridges. Over time, mankind have improved the recipe of concrete, and we now use it in everything we build that requires infrastructure worldwide. We can see its development over time in the history over many different cultures. It has had a major impact on the world economy, environmentally, and socially. Mankind will surely continue to improve on the recipe of concrete to make it more energy efficient, easier to use, and less impact on the environment. There will always be a place for concrete in future society.